My name is Christopher Life Willers, and in case you don't know, in 2003, I was sentenced to 144 years in prison. True story. Oh my goodness. No, seriously, that's why I wrote a book about it and everything. 144 Prison Pain and a Pathway to Freedom. That is not a shameless plug. That's just me telling you that I've been telling my story lately. But when I say I'm happy to be up here, I mean that legitimately because very easily for me, I could be sitting in a cell. Very easily, I understand, I recognize I could be sitting in a cell. So I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? And I get up here every single day as much as I possibly can. And I have conversations with the people that support the content or the people that don't. My goal is to educate, um, motivate, inspire, whatever it is, but to be a voice for those people, my brethren, right? My sisters in them that are impacted by incarceration, and not just my brothers and sisters behind the wall, not just the juveniles, but their family members, their loved ones, etc., etc. It's extremely important because when you look around at it all, man, it's like one out of every two people are truly impacted by incarceration. Like somebody knows somebody. Somebody got caught off guard. You know what I'm saying? Truly, I see you. He says, "My guy set out to you, man. Your content is hilarious, but also knowledgeable. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. If you guys got questions, please put them in the chat. That's my whole goal and purpose of going live. I want to get up here. I want to be able to answer y'all questions. There were some delays and hiccups up here. There's some things going on, man, in the platform, man. A lot of uncertainties, but we grinding forward. We moving forward. You understand what I'm saying? Um, I enjoy getting up here and being able to answer questions. I enjoy being up here, being able to get up here and provide some type of support to the best of my ability. Good afternoon, Ryan. Because when I first came home from prison after 16 years, 11 months, there really wasn't any support that was visible. And also, I do want to say that the pandemic was about to kick off. So it was a little different. There were some things going on. And guess what? You know, everybody couldn't necessarily provide support when they needed support. But here we go. Ryan said I did 5 in FCC Yazoo, man. Glad to see you back, man. King Trav said, "Are you rehabilitated?" I believe so. I believe I am. I had to get back. I believe I am wholeheartedly rehabilitated. My fault, y'all. Um, Without a doubt, it took some time though. I want to be 100% clear. It wasn't like an overnight thing. And as I often tell people, man, mental health support is key. It took me about 2 years of being home to start the process of feeling normal. I've been home over 6 now. But it was a process at first. There was some moments, there was some learning curves, there was some experiences that had to be experienced, or I don't know, maybe they felt like they did. I don't know, but um, yeah, and that's part of the reason I like getting up here and having that conversation because oftentimes we can think we can think we're rehabilitated, we can think that we're in a certain place, but you don't really know until you're put into a certain situation. You know what I'm saying? Um, Northwest said, "Heal, my brother. You're young. You still got a lot of juice in the tank." No, I've been home now 6 years. I do think that I'm healed. I've opened schools. I've got a successful nonprofit. I travel the country as a motivational speaker. But more important than that, man, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm blessed, man. I really am. I'm really am good, man. It was a process though. Ryan Mack said, "I'm a successful contractor now. How do I mentor to inmates like me?" I don't know. I'm not an inmate, so I don't know, Ryan Mack. But I would say you definitely want to learn the language if you want to connect with us. A lot of us don't like being called inmates respectfully. Um, but you can partner with already existing organizations like my nonprofit, other ones that are in your community, etc., that already have access to that population and audience. They can help you develop a program. I can help you develop a program or curriculum, but it's really that's the first step. If you're not already somebody that's in that arena of helping people that are impacted by prison incarceration, partner with organizations. Reach out to one of the many that are probably in your community or that you can get connected to via online. Northwestern said 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, etc. Ahead of you lifers, no coming home. Yeah. Said you always remember the lifers. I was just up there in London Correctional Institute and had an opportunity of connecting with the lifers up there, and getting ready to do some programming with them, man. That's one of the things that I'm really passionate about, is setting up opportunities for programs, all that good stuff, and really just making sure that there's a situation where people can get help. No problem, Ryan. It's just conversation and support, and I think it's important. We learn the impact or the value in language. It does matter. And just, a lot of us don't know. I didn't take anything by it, but I did want you to know in case you're in front of an audience and, you want to be a little bit more aware, right? But no, you're good, man. And keep doing what you're doing, Ryan. That program is going to be amazing if you get it off the ground, and it's definitely needed, to say the least. Said I got some stories. XX said I got some stories as well from XCO if you ever want life from a CO side as well. Man, shout out to Pink the Vibes, man. A few others that are making content. Shout out to the COs that support my content, the ones that are getting me into the institutions right now, man. I definitely, maybe in the future, I'm going to start doing interviews again sometime in the future. Getting ready to venture out in this big podcast space, though, man. Do some stuff with that. Continue to have some lives, some good conversations, support people, motivate people, all that good stuff, man. So I'm excited, man. Northwest said my celly was a lifer. I used to talk about the outside. It was sad. Yeah. Hey, listen, I know. Oh, Ryan, I didn't know. Formerly incarcerated. Got you, man. I'm glad you made it through, brother. I've been in situations where, I'm super cool with my celly. We're talking, whatever, we're bidding, whatever, playing cards or something. And I never thought to ask him how much time he had, because it's customary. Typically, you don't ask somebody how much time or what their charge is, at least where I was at. You know what I'm saying? And it's extremely imperative to be aware of the people you're dealing with in prison, because you don't know who's got what. And this was before they separated everything. This was before they, turned, I guess what I want to say, segregated the buildings in regard to how people were doing time, and we're talking one day, and he used to always talk like he was going home the next day. He'd always talk about that. He got that. In fact of the matter is, I found out he had been gone for over 20, which I could see he had been down for quite some time. But he also had a life sentence, double life sentence, which I found out one day, nonchalant, in a conversation. Didn't dwell on it. Kept talking about he was going home tomorrow. And maybe he just needed to hang on to that, to stay sane in that environment. I don't know, Victor, I appreciate that, man. Somebody said something, take on Pocahontas State Correctional Center. I haven't been to Pocahontas. I never made it to Pocahontas, man. And I don't really know too many of my people that have been on Pocahontas, to be honest with you. Anybody don't know, that's a camp out there in VA. That was the main reason you left, you said? Ryan said I did 3.5 years and stayed pinned before. Oh, yeah, that's right. You put, yep, Yazoo. I try to keep up, man. I try, man. It's a lot going on. Trying to keep up with the comments, reading. I'm one of those people. I'm really learning technology still to this day. That's one of the things I am having to work on. Somebody's also said they worked on Sussex 1 and 2. What years did you work on Sussex 1 and 2, man? I was on Sussex 2 from 04 to 06 and 08 to 11. Appreciate that, Garcia. Yeah, when did you work on Sussex 1 and 2, though? So it's 21 at site 1 and 2, 22 for almost here. Okay, later on. Got you. I went home in 20. Anytime at Hayes. No, I did my time in VA. I did my time in Virginia. Um, but I live in Georgia, and it's really near and dear to me to help people that are presently incarcerated in Georgia, all throughout the system. But man, Georgia's system got some problems like none other. Of course, there's a situation in Mississippi. Mississippi's system, I believe, is one of the worst too. But Georgia's got some different types of situations. Somebody said Georgia, the country. No, Georgia, the state. Man, it's crazy right now. If anybody's been paying attention to what's going on, if you just look up Washington State Prison, you'll see what was going on there. But imagine if you're sitting in a visitation room and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like people just bolt into the visitation room. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. That's what's going on right now, though. You know, that's what's going on. And over here working, man. But I tell my brothers all the time that's in VA, man, you know, just chill. The system could be worse in different states, different places, or it could be like that in VA. It's definitely a different situation there, man. Um, Listen, continue to say, you know what I'm saying? And I'll continue to say, freedom is better. Somebody asked me, they're like, yo, why do you keep making content about prison? And I tell you, every single day, always for the same reason, because I want people to stay free. I want to encourage people to not go to prison. I want to continue to make sure people understand what prison is truly about. That's it. That's my goal. And that's all. You know, that's it. I get up every single day and find new, interesting ways to do that. I'm grateful to be able to do that. I don't take it lightly. I understand wholeheartedly 1000%, that prison is a serious thing. Recently there was is a prison content creator that ended up I guess back incarcerated. I don't know. And I seen some people talking about him one way, some people talking about another. And I'll just say my take is, as somebody that makes content about prison, I'm extremely on point. I don't ever want to go back. Prison is scary to me. It's not cool. When people talk about I was never scared, I was scared. Back is what's good. I appreciate you, man. Hopefully you're doing all right, good brother. But that's it. I don't want anybody to experience or really learn the things that I had to learn firsthand. I want y'all to learn secondhand or third hand or however they say it. I want you to just learn through the stories, and that's it. Dilly said he saw my post at the airport. How was the trip? Trip was amazing, man. We went out there to London Correctional Institute, the oldest prison in Ohio, London, Ohio. They shot some of Shawshank Redemption there. And it's down the street from the original Shawshank Redemption or something like that. And it was just cool, man. 2,600 men there. Level 1, 2. They had everything. They had dogs. They had guys taking care of turtles. They had NAAA meeting halls. They had college programs. They had culinary arts. That's the type of stuff I want to see when I go to a prison for a tour, or I go to speak at a prison. I want to see opportunities for people to be successful. I want to see programs. I want to see therapy. I want to see those types of things going on. They had access to the chaplain's area all day, the rec area all day. It was just different. That camp was more of like an open, almost like a small city or something, small town. So I really appreciate it. If anybody doesn't know, I'm on the Stay Free campaign in 2026 and beyond. Appreciate that conscious being, man. Appreciate that support from the beginning. But I'm on this mission of going to every single prison and jail that I can to talk and speak to the brothers and sisters, the juveniles, and just deliver this message of how to stay free. That's it. That's what I'm trying to do. So if anybody's got any ways to get me up in there in them prisons and jails, man, let me know. I would love to get up in there and deliver a message. And we've been to Vegas, do some stuff, Ohio already. We got multiple cities coming up. Virginia's definitely on the map. We're doing some conferences at Christopher Newport University, Virginia, or VCU. Was at Virginia Commonwealth University. A lot of stuff going on, man. And if y'all been watching the content like the Good Brother Conscious Being, man, which I really appreciate, you guys know, I love doing content, but I'm boots on the ground. I might pop up in a city near you any day. Y'all see me, man. I stay on the move. Stay on the move, man. Got to. It's really important, not just for me, not just to deliver the message here. I want y'all to see me in person doing it too. I envision these stay free events, you know what I'm saying, in different cities and towns, little by little. This is what I envision. That's one of the goals as I continue to build this thing up, man, and y'all continue to support the way that y'all do, which I really appreciate. I would love to do these stay free events around the country, and we getting there. We starting in the prisons. Before you know it, we're going to be in the communities doing that proactive work. Hello. James said, my last unit, we had the dog program for veterans. It really made people want to do right to get in. I believe that. It's the small things that serve as incentives, man. Ryan, I see you. Stay free, most definitely. It's the small things. And that's what I seen at London Correctional Institute. I was like, yo, they have things that they probably want to be able to have access to, which would cause them to stay out of trouble, which is going to help them stay free. That's it. Call me CO, said my favorite part of the job was seeing good people go home and make their lives better. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, straight up. I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate the COs, the people that work in prisons that want to see people get better and go home and do better, which I feel like everybody should want that for anybody that's given an opportunity to go home. You don't want to see them go home and do worse, because that could trickle some places, man. You want good stuff to happen, man. So shout out to you. I guarantee you, he's probably one of the good people in there, man. RCO said, how much of 60 Days in TV show is actually true? I don't know, man. I mean, first I want to say this. I'm probably not qualified because I don't watch TV as it is. And I definitely very seldom watch like prison shows. If I do, it's like clips. Now, when I first came home, I think I was bugged out because I used to watch a lot of prison shows. That was back in 2020. You know what I'm saying? And King Cobra said, Wyan is not going to listen, bro. You got to have money for them to respect you. Well, I mean, I've opened up schools, right? I've got a successful nonprofit. I travel the country as a motivational speaker. I hire people into jobs. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, King Cobra, it's not about the financial part, but I do well there too. And they do listen to me, man. Maybe, you and two or three of your people might not, but yo, they listen to me, bro. And shout out to all the young people. I don't call them YNs either. Shout out to all my young people, man. My youngins out there that is tapping in, that is checking in, that's supporting the content, that's supporting the message countrywide from California to Atlanta. I really appreciate y'all from Chicago to New Orleans, man. And we got youngins tapping in from all over the world. And they're doing big things, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the young people that, yo, we watching your videos, we changing this, we changing that, and I really appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Ryan said, I began learning construction at FCC Yazoo, Medium, Mississippi. That's what's up, man. King Cobra said, let me up real quick. No, I'm good brother. You from Chicago? I am too, man. Yeah, the thing is, it's not all about money. There is a place where you can get the respect of individuals, but you got to know how to engage people, man. You got to really know how to have conversations. Some people need the distraction of money and be able to hold something up in order to get people's attention. And I thank God that some of us don't, man. Some of us can just walk in a room, speak, and be heard. That's God. That ain't me. That's a blessing. I don't take it for granted. But I'm just telling you, 45th and State, 103rd and Riverdale, man. Little village, too. I lived a little bit all over the place. And shout out to you in the city. We got some great food out there. But yeah, man, I think that's one of the false narratives that we kicking in, and it's got to be about the money for the youngers to pay attention. Yo, when you take the time to sit down and connect with them, you know what I'm saying? When you sit down and just take the time to be present with them, and when they know you've really been some places, when they can look you up, because it's real easy to look people up nowadays. Most of us, some people you can't find them nowhere, but it's not hard. And when they see you, that, okay, bro, really, And I'm gonna say another thing that I have to my advantage with the young people, which I'm grateful for, is social media. I've got close to 1 million subscribers, followers, etc., all over different platforms. So that's a blessing, man. And you got to use your tools, man, especially in this work when you're trying to get through to young people, trying to help people and more, man. James said the thing that's been hard is job placement for us in Texas. TDCJ doesn't really help us. I would love to get in a conversation with people from Texas. We're getting ready to head down to some Texas prisons and do some events there. I would love to speak to the brothers and sisters that are already home. I want to learn about the reentry process. If I can jump on for like a quick call, because I want to learn how to support that part right there, right? My organization is national. We help people all over the country. I definitely want to know how we can help. Near and dear. Texas is near and dear to me, man. My family, my father's side of the family, some Eagle Pass right there on the border. If you're from Texas, you may know about it, man. Eagle Pass, always on the news too. But that's where the family at. How long were I locked up? Relo, I was down for 16 years, 11 months from 2003 in February to January 2020. Back and said best place for jobs is NYC when coming home. They'll place you quick. Shout out to New York, man. Georgia wasn't hard for me either though. Like, because they got the temp agencies, they got other things going on. But Janet said, will I write another book? I already did. Great question. I wrote another book called How to Stay Free, a guide to reentry success for you, your loved one. Link is in bio, by the way. And it's a workbook for individuals coming home from prison. It's 16 chapters, 14 to 16 chapters. I got to remember if I'm counting the glossary or whatever, but all pertinent information, all dedicated to educating you or your loved one on how to build a foundation. If you're coming home from prison, be successful and stay free. Like, hands down. I don't even know. I got to grab it. It's over there. But that was one of my I wanted to get a workbook out there, right? And it's also for the loved ones that may not understand incarceration. They may not get it. They may not understand what it takes to help a person be successful when they come home from prison. So that's necessary too. You know what I'm saying? So, Brother say, I've been watching your vids for a while. I didn't know you were locked up for that long. Yeah, I was gone, man. A lot of people don't know I was gone for that long. Because I try not to, and I'm rehabilitated. I'm healed. You know what I'm saying? If not all the way, I'm getting there. But I try not to walk around with prison on me. Somebody's like, yo, you should be proud of what you went through. Who said I'm not? I'm not like proud, but I'm glad that I didn't let that time go to waste. I'm glad I didn't let it destroy me. I'm glad I survived, but that's not who I was. I never fit in prison, so I don't really wear that to the best of my ability out here. Janet, her book is on the way. Shout out to my wife, man. April Willis, her book getting ready to come out too, man. Make sure y'all support that. Support her page, all that good stuff. Is that Keefe actually about it? It's just coffee. It's just coffee. Call Me Still said, as a convict, did you hate the bad COs as much as the good ones did, including the dirty ones? What I liked were fair and consistent COs. People bid in different ways. And what I also want to say is I wasn't clean my whole bid either. Like, I was doing my dirt at the time, and I'm not glorifying, but I still preferred the CO that was consistent and fair, because the dirty COs, man, they would do the craziest stuff. It was like they was locked up. Some of them was in cars and affiliated. It was crazy, and you never knew what to expect. And it for me, the underline of it all was I wanted to be safe in there. I'd rather get around somebody that knows going to hit me in the head with a charge than being there with somebody that don't care and let everybody go wild and it go left. Because I've been in environments where the COs didn't care. When I first hit Sussex 2, it was crazy. And people were not making it. You know what I'm saying? It was that type of camp because there was too many COs up there that didn't care. So I liked one of my most favorite COs. A lot of guys hated. Yeah, I say favorite CO because I've had conversations with him. I just thought he was a funny dude, but he was consistent. He would tell you, yo, I'm going to write you a charge if you do X, Y, Z. He would make the same speech every day, but he was the CO that would make sure you would have what you were supposed to have. Them other COs didn't do that. And that's the other thing. Like, only certain shit, we had request forms. We could get access if there was an issue. He'd call medical right away. He'd make sure we got rec. different things. So look, you gonna write us up if we do XYZ. At least you're giving us the heads up so we know how to move on your shift. But more important than that, you actually get us what we supposed to have. You call property if we looking for our stuff. You make sure you gotta respect that. But it's typically only the COs, man, that really are serious about their job. I don't like the super gun ho ones. We don't want them. We want the fair, inconsistent ones. We don't even like the ones that change up. One day they cool, next day they gonna write you 16 charges. You don't like that either. You know what I'm saying? Victor, do it, man. Make some content, bro. Definitely make some content, man. Gotta make some content, man. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I see you, man. He said the one thing. Oh, I lost the count. Let me get back to that. He said that's one thing I try to do. Be fair. Everyone got what they needed, but never went too much. That's it, man. In prison, let me tell you something. You're not always guaranteed to like get what you need. Like some COs don't care. They'll just leave you. Like you'll just be. You might need to go to medical. They'll be like, "Oh, good luck." But you get those COs that actually like they try to do their job out of cool. Because if you need something, whether it's right, they go by what's right in the book. If the prisoner is supposed to have this supposed to fine. And that's all you can hope. Because even if you're housed in a prison, right? You need safety, you need structure, you need order, you need certain things because it is chaotic and people don't necessarily care if you get home, man. You know? It's a serious thing. People don't want to ever have that type of conversation. I just posted a picture on one of my jumps with Correctional Officer Dan. That jump went viral, man. I shout out to see. I'm different though. You know what I'm saying? Like some people that they'll never respect it. Fine. You could be super convict, criminal man, whatever. When we meet and we're not having conversations about how to get the guys busted. These COs are reaching out to me because they're like, yo, I care about the guys that are in this prison. Will you come talk to them? How can you not respect that? How can you not? I don't know. And again, shout out to the COs because they've been the one that's been getting me into prisons lately, man. And we've been turning up. They get me in and the warden's like, yo, come on back. D Money Sin said, what's up, man? Been seeing you on my page, FYP page. Love it, man. Keep it up the grind. Appreciate that, man. Call Me CO said, I left Florida to Washington. All the inmates that were cool were upset that I was leaving. Made me feel good. Yeah, respect is respect. Wouldn't you know it that respect is respect? Wouldn't you know that like in prison, respect is the number one thing? It's the number one thing. You understand what I'm saying? Very serious thing. So, when you come home and you get out into the society, things are a little bit different. So respect is not the number one thing. Not in the way that we actually exercise it in prison. In prison, you will hear the most craziest, quote unquote, dangerous, whatever people saying, excuse me, thank you, please, appreciate that. You'll hear a certain type of pardon self. People always trip over the pardon self thing. But you'll hear a certain type of conversation in prison. Out here, you don't hear. You do not hear, yo. Say golden rule, I believe wholeheartedly. Listen, respect will get you a long way. Respect will get you a long way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because with respect, it gives you the ability to connect. That's it. If it's disrespect, no connect. If it's respect, it's connect. Well, why do I need that in prison? Because I want to be able to move without having my head on a swivel. I want to be, I don't have to be, we don't have to like each other. We don't have to be the best of friends. And we probably won't because we're from XYZ and that's just how it goes in prison, unfortunately. But I can respect you. Oh, you from that part of the city? I don't really rock with y'all because the way the politics is set up, but I respect y'all. There was a lot of that in Virginia's system. Virginia's system is different than a lot of systems. I'll say that again, man. You'll never hear me say and get up here and say, hey, yo, VA was like California or Texas. Because to me, it's not a competition about what's tougher. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother AMP Live, man. But in Virginia, respect is key. Race is not a factor. Black people hang out with white people. Everybody's cool with one another, but it's about respect. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of politics. Don't get me wrong, especially now. But respect. People can cohabitate. Now you get to a system like Georgia. I don't know. You know, really big. The detonator gets hits crazy, man. Janice said my husband is in county and we are in Virginia. Yeah, I don't. You know, Virginia to me is one of the safer systems, but it's got its issues. You know, it's got its issues for sure. Ken Jones said Pops was Vietnam vet, taught me that in high school. Respect get a long way. Respect get a long way. Respect allows me to get in the rooms and have conversations with people normally I wouldn't. Respect allows me, and this is from working hard the last 6 years, but respect allows me to get in a room and have conversations with politicians, legislators, CEOs, executives, whatever it is, because they respect the grind, they respect the message. Y'all got to understand, I've been doing this part right here for close to 6 years. When I came home, I started going. And what that looked like was I was in the community. I was at events. I was storytelling. I was being a motivational speaker. I was getting up here and I was going. Consistency breeds respect. When an individual sees you be consistent with whatever you're doing, if you get in the basketball gym and shoot free throws every day, and every day I see you when I leave the gym shooting free throws, I'm going to respect your free throw game. You understand what I'm saying? People see me grind. They see me always talking. I'm an advocate. I'm a voice for the car. They respect it. And that goes for y'all. People, pick something that you're passionate about. Be consistent. You know, get your respect level up. You get everywhere, man. Jesse said, where was you at in VA? Also, no block cheese on your pizzas. I was never the cook. Look, I was never the cook. I'll just say that. All right. But y'all got the point, man. Shout out to everybody that was blowing up that post. On VA, I went from Haynesville receiving to Sussex 2 State Prison, back to Haynesville Correctional Center, back to Sussex 2 State Prison, then Greensville Correctional Center, then St. Bride's Correctional Center, then Haynesville Camp 17, and then Nottoway Work Center. You understand me? I went a little bit everywhere. You know, a little bit of everywhere. So, and I'm grateful. You know, again, you know, with respect, reputation goes hand in hand. You know, with respect, reputation goes hand in hand. An individual without a good, solid reputation is not typically respected. You know, it's just not. So, you know, Janice said, why did they move me a lot? Man, it was a couple that, so early on in my bid, they were moving me because I was getting in trouble or I was getting put under investigation. My background, which again is in my book, 144, Prison Pain and a Pathway to Freedom. If y'all want to learn about the whole, you know, situation, all that I went through and how I ended up doing over 3 years in solitary confinement, all that good stuff. But I was getting in trouble at first. Affiliations being put under investigation from the investigators, being labeled a STG, you know, a multitude of different things. And then, well, not even then, because even like once I hit the prison, I started almost immediately learning how to do paperwork. And what does that mean? That mean like I learned how to like file complaints on the prison. I learned how to like, if the water was messed up, file an informal complaint. I learned how to like, if I didn't get the right treatment in medical, how to file not just an informal complaint, but a grievance, and in a 1983 form. Because the old head that they had put me in a cell with initially, he was a beast with the paperwork. He wasn't writing up the guys he was locked up with, but the situation, the conditions, the things that we were supposed to have that they didn't deliver, they didn't give it to us. Oh, he was lighting them up. Because in prison, what a lot of us don't know is there's a policy and a procedure that they've got to live by. They have to abide by. But if we don't ever hold them to that, well, then they'll never know. Well, how do I hold it? You write them up. And there's a system in place of checks and balances, which allows you to write them up outside of the institution. So if you file a request form and you don't get the response back or the treatment that you need, etc., then you file an informal complaint. And if there's no assistance there at that level, then you file a grievance and there's no assistance there. Then you file a civil suit, which is a 1983 form. All of these things are possible within the prisons, but a lot of us that are incarcerated don't know it. I did. So I started getting moved around because I got the job as the inmate advisor and I was fighting the dude's charges in there. Inmate advisor would fight the institutional charges. Guy gets a charge, it's very serious because he can lose his good time. That's freedom, right? You can lose your ability to see your family, get on the phone, get commissary. Guys told the administration at a young age while I was in there, even when I was still doing my little dirt, we want Willars, life until I got my nickname in there and all that, to be the inmate advisor. So I would have jobs like the inmate advisor on different prisons. I would have positions on the IRG board, which is the inmate. I forgot what it was, something group. And basically the IRG board, it'll come to me. It was an inmate representative group. Basically was like a government for the prisoners that got to have meetings with the compound staff if there was issues or if they was trying to get new things implemented for the guys. So I was always in these positions. I had an opportunity to be a senior elder, which was the lead mentor over the reentry program. I still had 6 years left, but I had access to the reentry resources because they wanted me over there. But anyways, why they moved me, that paperwork game was crazy. And I didn't care. Like I was the type, like if there was a nasty sergeant on there and he was like purposely getting dudes in trouble or doing something crazy, I'm writing it up. Y'all could call it what it is. You're not going to keep getting out on us. Yo, this is your job. You're supposed to be professional. Stop doing us dirty. Yo, I'm about to write up the situation. You might not catch it directly. You're going to get indirectly. That complaint coming or the conditions. I used to always write up the food. They used to hate that, and they used to move me because they wouldn't change the conditions of the food. It's easier to move one prisoner, than to change the conditions of the food within the prison. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I use that to my advantage too. If I wanted to just get off of camp, I'd start writing things up left and right. I will file complaints on the mattresses, complaints on no pod or no outdoor rec for X because they be saying shortage of staff. They do not want you on certain camps when you like that. So that was another reason, man. Y'all, it was good times, though. I felt like I was a freedom fighter in there because I was researching, learning laws, and I was educating. You know what I'm saying? I was educating my brothers in there, which they hated doing that. They hated me doing that. Because now it's one thing that, oh, he knows paperwork. He knows how to do that. Now it's another thing. He's in there educating. I used to have a fake class. On some camps, they gave me a classroom. On St. Bride's, they gave me a classroom. I promise you. They would let me teach whatever. In some prisons, they let you rock. On Camp 17, I had to get the job as the librarian/inmate advisor, and they wouldn't let me teach financial literacy in there. But the guys would all be coming down there for class. So when the CO would walk by, we'd all pick up books like we were reading. As soon as the CO left, we'd put them down and teach class. But this was crazy. If they would have found out, they would have shipped me. They would have said I was getting people together, and I used to get put under investigation for everything. I was leading the church service in there one time. I got put under investigation for that. They thought I was in there recruit. Yo, prison is a weird place. I'm telling you, if you're doing positive, you'll get more resistance doing positive things that are outside the box in there, trying to help the guys that are in there with you, than you will if you're doing some other stuff. I promise you. Somebody said, what was my reaction when I seen the iPhone in prison? It blew my mind. I got locked up in 2003 before they had smartphones. So when I seen one hit the compound, I was like, what the heck is this thing? You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I needed to see it because the closest thing we had to touchscreen was the JP5. Just said that's the thing. You do that, you got to be prepared for retaliation for this. You do got to be prepared for retaliation. You do. But for me, I was like, yo, this is my life. I don't care about retaliation because they're already doing something to me that I'm not rocking with, So if you're going to get me, go ahead and get me. But we gonna figure it out, and I'm going to have a paperwork trail. Because every time I write something up, I'm going to send it out to the street, or I'm going to make sure while I'm writing it up, my people are sending emails from the outside. It ain't going to be just me. So if they get too crazy away, we got paperwork, we got trail, we got all that. But it would happen, though. Blue said he's in his fourth spot since entering at 17. They do move you, though. I ain't gonna lie. Is Keefe really good? You tell me. You tell me. Shout out to Keefe. Not the company, just the coffee. I use it as a reference point though. People like, yo, you promote it. I'm not. It's a shared experience that a lot of us can relate to, and it's a good centerpiece to draw or create content and a story around. It needs to be heard. That's the truth of it all, man. Before everybody's like, yo, no, I'm not promoting them. Just especially places like Sussex. Oh, they definitely don't want you knowing nothing up on Sussex. One of the things we wrote up there, man, that, and it's not always right up. Like, you have to stand up for your rights, right? But like, one of the things that we ended up getting into up there was the officers were taking us into the office, right? Like the lieutenant's office. There was no cameras there. They was putting their hands on us. And I say us, my fellow brethren, my fellow prisoners at the time. And yo, something had to stop that. You know, and there's this place where you can just let things go on, but there's this other place where, yo, we gonna get at it. And certain ones of us in the system, we were already known too. And certain ones of us were so known when it came to filing paperwork on the prison conditions, etc. The wardens would tell the other wardens ahead of time, like, oh, you got Willards en route, man. You might as well just go ahead. And some of us are so, one time they tried to transfer me 2 days, like a day before I was supposed to get married to my wife in the visitation room, or 2 days. And they knew it was going to be, they stopped my transfer because I told them, I was like, yo, don't do that. We already got everything approved. Y'all already know I'm not the average. And they stopped my transfer. They allowed me to get married to my wife in the visitation room. And then they shipped me immediately after, like the next day after that. But, you know. Rich Perez said, how long did it take mentally? No, you're not going home for a minute. I don't know if it ever kicked in initially. At first, I think it kicked in the fact that I wasn't going home about halfway in. You know, I think it was probably when I started hitting like 28, 29. You know, I'm about to hit 30 and I'm like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I started getting lighter. Seen my first grade early. You know, there were certain things I was seeing, and that's really when it would kick in, man. The realization when I'm looking in the mirror and it's like, yo, Jesse, I appreciate that, man. Everybody else showing love, man. I appreciate y'all. But yo, man, I appreciate that. That's when it would kick in, when I would look in the mirror. You know, when I would actually get an opportunity and maybe nobody was around, everybody went to chow and I stayed back because that's often what I would do. And make my meal in the dorm so I could have some privacy. I might go look in the mirror and see myself getting older, and it would dawn on me like, yo, I got to get up out of here. If I don't get up out of here, it's going to keep, you know. So it's real, man. Amanda Abdallah said, I was a CO for 5 years, still have nightmares, and the nightmares aren't about the inmates. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, I listen, I know personally firsthand, you know, women that I'm cool with, former prison staff, former COs, former nurses, etc., that tell me some of the most horrifying, traumatic stories that you would ever hear, and it's not from the prisoners. And I ain't even got to say nothing else, because if you read her comment, she said, and the nightmares aren't about the inmates. Now, her might not even be about what you but I'm just saying it's not always about the prisoners, man. That's all I'm going to say. It's real, man. Appreciate y'all over here gifting, man. Appreciate that, Jesse. Appreciate that follow, man. Everybody that's locking in with me. Make sure y'all follow, subscribe, like, comment, interact, engage. Go to the last post, share them out, do everything you can, because it helps me get the message out there. And I'm really appreciative. I got to always say that, man. I'm really appreciative because it helps me get the message to somebody that may need it. And every day I wake up, there's messages that I get from people that say, oh, I seen the post. I decided not to. I decided to. The only way that happens is when you guys support it. That's it. So I always want to say thank you, man. The other thing is, as I always say, an old head once told me that the greatest gift we'll ever have, the most valuable thing that we'll ever have, is time, because without that, we will have nothing else at all, man. So I want to say thank you, as I always do, as I bring this live to an end. I want to say thank y'all for spending time with me, man. I appreciate your time, every second of it. Hopefully you learned something, got some support. Deep drive. You know I got the Keefe, man. Don't ask questions you got the answers to. You understand me? But I appreciate your time, man. I'll be going live every day to the best of my ability, man. Make sure you check me out over on YT, man. OG Chronicles streaming live. Going over 24/7. We doing new things. You understand me? You know, Wangwan. Anyways, listen, man, y'all stay up, stay free. And I want to be clear, when I say stay free, I don't mean just from prison. Stay being a free thinker. Stay observant. You know, stay vigilant. Pay attention to what's going on. Stay making the decisions for you that's going to lead you to the life that you want to live. Fight for that no matter what, man. Because you deserve to live a life that is truly representative, I got to get that out, of freedom. You know, you deserve that. Especially to my people that come home from incarceration. Don't come home from prison and still live a life of confinement. You know, and to my people that never been to prison, if you are living a life of confinement, because that could happen, you could be in your house doing that. Break free, man. Change something up. Take a step outside that gate. You know what I'm saying? Till next time, y'all already know what it is, man. I appreciate the support. I'm going to keep getting up here and supporting y'all back, man. Bring the questions. Message me, comment. If there's certain topics you want to see me comment on, certain things you want to see me react to, or certain skits you want to see me develop around certain topics, etc. Man, please. I love the ideas. Keep them coming. And I appreciate the input on the platform as we continue to encourage people to stay free, man. Y'all already know what it is, man.